Campbell.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I think I'm doing okay.
Okay.
Had some keto pancakes for breakfast this morning.
I have not had breakfast.
Yeah, no breakfast yet?
Nope.
You can stick your nose like right down. You notice that? You stick your nose right down on the line right there. You kind of think like you get down there. You can do it. Look at that. That means there's a cartoon from the old days called Kilroy. When he was famous, he just had his nose sticking up above the line. So, that's pretty cool. Looks like your hair is freshly washed. Is that true?
Yes. And wait, I want to show you something. Oops, wrong screen. Yeah. Okay, so, this is what we did last time. We added these moving averages, and we totally thought that we had messed up, but it looks like from here, we've had it running for a while now, and it appears that it's correct. It just needs to be stretched out a bit.
It looks like our X calculation is not right. That's part of it. If you look at the shape of it, it's
like
not
this
too bad.
segment lines up with this piece right here, and then this piece.
Yeah.
Be this.
Yeah, that peak right up there kind of corresponds
to this
peak right here, it seems.
Yeah.
And the one before it corresponds to the one right before it here, it seems. Now, a moving average is going to be off from the regular, but we've got these drops where it's just like the value seems to be like off the charts.
Yeah.
And so we need to kind of look at that. That was essentially, we started this at the end of the last show. And, we just didn't have enough time to finish it. So we're going to be debugging that, getting that working. Also, Campbell, you may recall in the last show, I was like, at one moment I said, I'm not liking this. Maybe I'll instead of trying to quote myself, I'll tell you what my problem was. We were taking the canvas and passing it down into a class I think we called the chart translator. So the chart translator is this low-level class, but the canvas is this high-level, very specific user interface element. We're passing it down and saying, hey, just draw it for us.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like that, so I think we might be refactoring that so that I
remember that.
If a class is low level, I want to keep it low level. I don't want to pass in high level things and say, go work with this thing now. The reason that's a problem is what happens if this is like a huge hit and we want to now port this over into like an iOS phone. Well, if we're going to port it to an iOS phone, we're going to run into some challenges there because there's no WPF canvas on an iOS phone.
Yeah.
And so we have this, low-level class that has high-level knowledge, and then we change the whole platform to a Windows phone or to an iPhone, and all of that code will have to be refactored anyway. So it makes way more sense to do it now. It's cheaper to do it now than it is to wait till later, generally. That's the case.
Yeah.
If you get a sense that there's a problem, if you smell a problem, it's cheaper to wait. Now, also what we did last time is we created this pretty cool looking hint. It tells us the trade price and highlights the actual data point.
Yeah.
One of the things that's made calculating moving averages a little more challenging is we took away redundant data, essentially redundant data. So when you see that straight horizontal line above my finger there probably were multiple data points in there, but the stock price didn't change. And because it didn't change, we have code that is cleaning those up, pulling those extra ones out. And I suspect that we've got a problem in our algorithm that is related to that.
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah.
That's why I think we get these points we're trying to chart that are just off the charts. That's what I think is happening. So what I guess goal 1 for me is make the line smoother. Goal 2 is make sure that the X is in the right position. And we have a small moving average in the right location. Okay? Anything else you want to talk about before we...
No, I think that's it.
Okay. All right, let's look at the code. So we find our way to that small moving average.
Wait, sorry, I just want to do something.
Just planting some flowers, if you're okay with that.
I think what's happening, this is just an observation that could totally be wrong, but you see these pieces where it's like smooth and it's not a bunch of lines at each of these points?
Yeah.
Like the here,
Yeah.
here, here.
Yeah,
I think
those too.
I think that's because we didn't remove any information here. Because look, this kind of corresponds to this piece where it's
Right.
full of information.
Yeah.
So I think
I agree.
that
I think it's a
that's
beautiful
why.
observation that there's enough data in that space to figure out what's going on. Yeah, I think that's totally it.
Okay, to the code.
It's good to do what you just did, by the way, right? Sometimes it's better to get a sense of, wait, what's happening exactly, right? Your software is, in some ways, if you don't know what's going on, is like a black box, right?
Yeah.
And you want to know what's inside the black box. Well, you can kind of poke in, you can feel the temperature, you can shake the black box, and that's kind of what we're doing by looking at the code, looking at the running application. So. Okay, add moving average is right there. So Captain makes reference on that guy.
Yes. Oops. It's not.
Let's get that one open on screen.
Okay.
You can see more of it. Okay. Well,
Oops, that's not what I wanted.
no, I just wanted to scroll it up, that's all. No,
okay.
Let's make it big. I like to be able to see the text easily, so people watching can see it too. So we got a for loop on all of our stock data points.
Yes.
We have a points in span list, and we should clear this, as I recall, right here. We clear it here.
Yes.
We are checking to see if the time that we're getting is greater than the end time. So what we do is we figure out the span start time, and we should probably call this span end time. So the first move of the day is going to be to rename. In fact, this often happens, Campbell. As I'm going through and reading code, I'm trying to fix a bug. I'll see something that doesn't look right, and I'll rename it. What do you think?
I'm thinking just what else there is in this on the screen that could maybe need renaming.
That could what?
That could maybe need renaming.
I see. Well,
Yeah.
as I run into the problems, all right, so we say here's the start time, and then we get an end time. Then we go through and try to find, we iterate through all the stock data points, and we check to see, is the time on the data point, is it greater than the span end time?
And
We're also checking to see if the count is greater than 0 too.
which means we haven't gotten through it yet. Right? No, never mind.
These are the points that we're collecting in the span. What's interesting is this.
Oh, that's so that we don't do it at the beginning, I think. Or we don't try to do it at the beginning. Right? Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to understand the code and I'm looking at it and I think we're asking questions, but I did not.
No, I was not asking questions.
No? Okay.
No.
Let me know.
Or at least not ones that I haven't answered.
Okay. So this basically means we're outside the span that we're interested in. We need to calculate the moving average for the points that we have collected.
Yes.
I suspect because we noticed the shape of the graph was matching the shape of the
Yeah.
the shape of the stock tracking. I suspect that our calculation of
the X.
Well, certainly our calculation of average Y for the most part is correct.
Yes.
But every once in a while it gets really off out of the realm of where we would expect it to be. And it's called a get stock position Y.
I think that's just because the X is in the wrong place.
We've been using this for a long time. It could be that the average price
Ooh.
This is where we draw our line. Can you not make that sound? Because I'm like thinking about that sound you're making instead of looking at the code, which is making it a little more challenging. Something that you should be doing right now is looking at the blocks and kind of getting a sense of what it's doing and asking questions about it. And one of the things that I do sometimes if I can't solve a problem is I think about it in other ways. And one of the ways that's really great to think about it is to talk about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have got, basically, we have I guess another thing we can do is we can say, well, all right, let's kind of start from the beginning. I think maybe the best way to do it is start from the beginning. So we're on the far left side. If we look at the graph, oh, it's not running. Okay, so we start at the far left side. So we say, okay, this is equal to start. Span in time is equal to that right there. So we're going to grab a span, like say 5 seconds or whatever it is. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, we do that. We set our last average Y to min value. This just tells us, we just use this here to see, do we already have an average value? Can we start drawing a line between the 2 points? Our get stock position X is called from multiple places. It's called from here, and it's called from draw graph.
Yeah.
Okay? So get stock position X is probably correct. Also get stock position Y, called from draw graph as well. So these methods are good. The chances that we're passing in bad data, I think, is high. What seems to be happening is the line goes all the way down to the bottom, which means it's a really large number, which means average price is a really large number, which means total weight could be a very small number.
Yeah. Yes.
Which means there could be a problem with the weight. One of the things that we could do is we could come in here and we could say, hey, if average Y is greater than, like, say, I don't know, 1,000? I don't know if it would get that high, but if it is, then we just check that box right there. We just do this for debugging.
Okay.
We can keep looking at it and see if we hit this breakpoint or not. But that would explain that kind of jump that comes down there. This transfers...
I think the Y is fine.
Oh, look, we got it. Oh yeah.
I thought the Y was fine.
Yeah, that's all right. This happens. 1 million. Average price is 25,000. Total price is 100,000. Points in span, there are 3. Here's 1. Is it 33,000? 2 is at 33,000. 3 is at 33,000. So the average price, what's the total weight? Should be 3. Oh, total weight's 4. Hold on. For calculating the average, we need to multiply that trade rate by its weight.
Yeah.
That's a mistake. I don't know if that's going to help this or not.
I think it will. At least
Well,
in
I don't
some
think it's
way.
gonna. I don't know if it's gonna fix. Oh, whoa! Does that just look like it fixed the problem?
No. That's off. Wait. We should probably full
Well, hold on,
screen.
because we got some bad values from before, I think. But let's get wait till we get more data coming in.
That's true.
Because I think it resets when we get a whole new set of data. I can't tell if we got data in or not.
Me neither.
Is it still running, or are we at a breakpoint?
It is?
That's
It's
still
running.
running. Okay. Actually, it looks that looks like it fixes problem 1. The question is, what about the X position? What's going on with the X position? I think I know what's going on with the X position. Okay, so that fixes problem 1, it looks like. We're not getting this breakpoint anymore, it looks like. Now, here's what I think the problem is with the X position. It's going in at the average of the span. The span start time plus the half the time span.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't actually seem so bad. Span start time. Are we updating span start time? I think we are. Yeah. You
I
said
think
span
we're
start-
using middle time incorrectly. Can you tap to next reference on that? Because I
It's
think.
just used to get the average X.
And how do we use that? Can you go to get stock position X? Here. How do we use?
My conclusion is that this is working.
Okay, but
We take the time minus start.
can
That's
I
the. Do you wanna?
look? Oh, never mind. I thought this was about in the middle of this thing, but it isn't. So never mind. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, let's go back. I think there's something else going on. I think that in general this is okay, but I think that see if that works. So we do this. we do this. Yeah. See this? The problem is the combination of both of these in the if statement.
Yeah.
This means the stock data point goes in a new section. This means we've collected something in that span. If we have not collected anything in the span, then what that means is down at the bottom, we don't advance this. See that?
Oh. Oh.
However, all right, so let's do a couple things here. Let's extract this to its own method. Call it draw line. Let's stop the app from running. So we get rid of these. Just so we can see this whole thing here, right? Being able to see it kind of makes more sense here. No matter what, we add it to points and span. Well, actually, this should, no matter what, have something in it.
Well, no, not if there haven't been any trades since the last time you calculated the.
Yeah, the first time in, this will have nothing in it. I guess I still want to break these up. So I want to create a separate if statement here. And I want to put in put that there. And I want to leave these two lines of code outside of that. Let's see what happens with that. We'll keep our eyes on this code while it starts up and starts collecting data. Okay. So, if we've got points to graph, then we go in and graph them. That'll mean we'll change the last average x and the last average y. Yeah, I would love for this to fix it. I don't quite follow if it is going to fix it.
Wait, can I have control of the mouse? It doesn't appear to have fixed it. So far, at least.
Get more data in.
Yeah.
Okay. So we get here, this stock data point. Okay, here I have an idea. The idea is a little bit clever, but it goes like this. The last point of points and span is that.
Wait, sorry, I don't follow.
See that last point?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the last point of whatever we've just collected.
But why is it -1? Wouldn't it just be...
Points in one span dot count.
Oh, yeah, because it starts at 0 and then...
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so that's the last point. The last point has a data value that should be at the very start of this span. The next span, I'm sorry, it has a data value that should be included in the calculation for the next span.
Yeah.
Right? So it goes like this. I think the logic goes like this. This is the current point we're iterating through, right? We're going through all those points. Think of them all in a line. If this dot time is greater than span end time. So think about this, right? We're still using the old span. That all looks good. All right, hold on. Let's stop this down so I get rid of these dumb green underlines. Okay, so if we're going through the span end time, this is the span end time that we were just filling up. So if you look at my fingers in the video, right, we're kind of going through getting data points. We've now got a new data point that's outside of that. Look,
yeah.
Can you see that? Right, this is my last point, and this is my new one. Well, the span start time is right on the other side of the span end time. And if this last point is less than the span end time, then that means the value at the span start time is equal to this. Right here.
Yeah.
So I can know that for sure. So it could be that this time was equal to the span end time, in which case we don't need it. But in almost every other case, the start of the next data point is going to be after this, which means we need the data point before. We need to add that, is what we need to do. When we're calculating average, we're not really using, sweet. So we can do this. We can say, I'm going to move this after the clear. And I'm going to say points in span dot add last point. That's what I'm going to do. So that's a small change I'm going to make. And we'll see how that impacts the situation. Okay? You want to hit run?
Yeah. So, I'm not sure I understand how this is going to change it, but...
Well, what it's going to do is it's going to get an extra data point in there in terms of what it's looking at. It may not fix it. It may not fix the X position, but
this is not.
But it feels right to me in terms of calculating the small moving average, because we really are looking at what are the values between those two spans.
Oh, it's better in terms of the Y x-axis. Oh no, it just starts at a different place.
It is getting further across.
Yeah, but look at where it's starting. I can't highlight it with my mouse.
You mean on the left?
It does that data point. Yeah, it starts.
That's okay, because remember, this was a decision we made last show. I asked the question, should we draw from the beginning or should we draw from the average?
Oh, right.
If it's working correctly, it looks like it's not working correctly because the end of the line is there. Well, we need more data points here, but if it's working correctly, that left edge and the right edge should get closer, should work their way closer.
They were correct at first, but every time there's a new data point, it changes how accurate it is. Sometimes it's for the worse, sometimes it's for the better.
I am not convinced that it's not working yet. I know this is far over here, but I've only got 3 data points out here. And I need I need more in the span, I guess.
Yeah.
But maybe there's different bugs. Maybe I think I want to see more change over here before I'm walking away. The graph on the left looks good. The part on the left does look good to me.
It does.
That looks like a small moving average.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not looking good. I want to get a change in the price. Can you make a quick buy or sell of Bitcoin so we get a change for me?
No, I cannot.
All right, it was worth asking. Okay, there we go. Now we got something coming in.
Okay.
That does not look good.
No, not at all. Not in the slightest. It looks like it's just updated for this dot. Not this one. Or this one. It's only updated this for it. It's only gone up depending on this dot change. So I think we have to get another change for it to update to this dot.
All right, let's go back. Let's look at the code. Don't change this. We'll keep it running.
See?
I'm going to take this out. Put it here. Because no matter what, I want to draw. Right now I'm only drawing if I found some points, but I want to now draw a line no matter what.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think what I want to do so I'm going to do something like this. And I can move this down here because no matter what, I'm going to want to do that. Average Y, oops. We'll have to put that right there. And then we're going to go from last average X to the new average X. Let's just set a breakpoint here because we've actually got some data coming in. And then we'll let it recompile that and run it and see how good or bad that is. So this corresponds to this guy. Yeah, it looks right, but it's
still in the wrong place.
It's far off. I wonder if it's my average calculation. Yeah, it's totally lined up, even with the data points near the end. See that? It's totally matching those, it seems.
We should probably just change the X positions.
Yeah, I'm reluctant to do that because it looks like it's totally going to work.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not I'm not seeing it. And it doesn't make sense to me that the logic for, what is it, span start time plus half time span, that's the middle time. That should be correct.
I still don't think we're using the middle term correctly.
We're simply passing it in to get the stock position, X.
Yeah, I think that code is incorrect.
You think this code's incorrect?
Get stock position is incorrect. The code in get stock position.
Well, we're using it to actually get the X.
The get stock position Y, X, sorry.
Yeah, this is inside draw graph, which works. The same code is being used here. We're calling add dot X. Sets the left position to X minus radius. It doesn't change X at all. You know, the draw line comes in here. It just sets the X and the X positions to those X's. Oh, I just got an idea. Is it possible that the canvas we're drawing on, let's set a different canvas in to this. I was just thinking, is it possible our canvas is maybe at a different scale? I don't think that's really a thing we can do, but let's see who's calling this. Let's instead, okay, let's run it till we get out of here. Let's, instead of using this control, let's do another one. Took a lot. All right, let's see what we get with this. I think it's going to erase it. Look at how it moved it over, though. I think.
Yeah.
When we get a new piece of data, I think the second graph will disappear. Oops. Huh. Oh, I know why, because the other one is still out there. CBS analysis dot visibility is equal to visibility dot. Okay. Let me do that. Let's keep this line of code. What's interesting is the graphs weren't overlapping each other. Because they weren't overlapping each other, it indicates to me that the canvases themselves may be at a different scale. There may be a scaling issue or a positional issue with those two.
Yeah.
So its actual height is 700, actual width is 1900. That looks correct. Same as this.
Yeah.
Let's see where its position is. Let's do canvas.getLeft on CBS analysis. And then let's do the same thing for CBS main. Not a number means it's not set. Let's execute these two lines of code and see if we get something different. Oops, that needs to be set. Now we get 0 for both. I don't think that's the problem. And there's no scale that I know of on a canvas. This canvas doesn't do any scaling. It's so weird that on one it's off to the side. Let's see what happens if I switch it back to CBS analysis now that I've forced its left position. It doesn't make sense to me. All right. And let's say that's now equal to visible. Execute this line of code. So all I'm doing is making code changes here just for the purpose of testing. I'm going to comment them all out right now and resume execution. See what we got, if there's anything different. Nope, doesn't really look different. Let's put it on both just to make sure, because they should both be the exact same numbers. Right? The same graph should show up in both of these. Right? If I pass in one canvas or another, it should, and since they're both in the same positions.
Yeah.
Oh, we do see only it. Huh. Okay. Yeah, these have all the same properties.
Yeah.
So they should be just sitting one on top of the other.
That's true.
We have another way to do this. I just want to look really closely at this get x, how we're calculating the x position. Well, I guess we could try this too. We could say, okay, instead of graphing it here, well, let's just graph it using span end time instead. That'll be our position, our x position. And look at that. Yeah.
It's still not perfect.
That's the end time for the
right
span.
Place. But
So
it's better.
As long as we're changing stuff to see what happens, let's make it this time.
Okay.
That's the one that's now outside of the bounds. It's kind of even a little bit worse, I suppose. Let's just see what happens. It's like poking the black box, right? See what's happening inside.
Okay, that's not what we want.
Well, it's really interesting. Why is it that this time here,
I mean, it gets us to the right x position, but it affects the y position.
so the stock data points time works,
Wow.
but for some reason, us adding 2-second intervals this is like a little stunning to me, Campbell. I'm not sure exactly what's happening here.
Me neither.
So this time, it's 10:37 and 49 seconds. My span end time is 10:37 and 38 seconds. Right when we used span end time, it was still far off.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if it has to do with time zone. I guess that doesn't really make sense. Do I have a time zone in here? Let's look at this real closely. If we go back to here, and we get to the middle time is 10:37 and 36 seconds. This guy was what? 10:37 and 49 seconds. So we're only a few seconds off. About 13 seconds off is our middle time. It's not an unreasonable value.
No.
Let's let's add a little bit of time to it. I'm not seeing any component of this time that indicates what time zone it's in. So that may be like this, just an idea that's not correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing no clear way out of this. The time span is the distance, the span duration in seconds that we're looking at here. So add moving average says, hey, look at this in 5-second blocks. We figure out the time span here based on that from seconds. And we say half time span is equal to span duration seconds divided by 2. Right, so that should be about 2.5 seconds. Yeah, you can see it right there. See it?
Yeah.
That's half the time span. So we do this and add 2.5 seconds to it, we get the middle time. That's 7:37, 33 seconds. Yeah, 7:37, 36 seconds. So that's about 2.5 seconds later. This time is 13 seconds more. And if we use span end time, let's use span end time again and take a look at that. The span end time doesn't get it out there.
Which is super weird.
All right, so our best results. Our best results were really with that guy there.
I disagree, because when we did stop data point dot time, it was the small moving the moving average was almost exactly the same as the actual stock value.
Almost exactly the same as the what?
Stock value. The graphs looked the same.
I see. When we did that,
yeah.
let's look at that for a second.
Oh, not exactly then. Or not almost exactly, but it's too close for it to, I think, work as a way of telling when to buy and sell.
Yeah, it's not quite really what we're looking for here, but we're definitely looking for something that's much closer, right? The other thing that's kind of, like, I kind of feel like I can get to something like, yeah, it's crazy to me that, oh wait, I think I know what it is. I think I totally understand the problem. Okay, hold on, let's undo this. This code is right. So there's that. This code is right. The problematic code is here. Or maybe here, rather. The span start time, let's see, is that true?
Wait. Wait a minute. I think I might understand where you're going. Or maybe not.
Yeah, it goes like this. So whatever our last data point, we now have a first data point in it. Okay, so at this point, we've drawn the line. So I think this is going to fix it. That count is greater than 0. Set a breakpoint right here. Put it up here. All right. If the points in span count is greater than 0, which it almost certainly is going to be, I don't see it not happening because we're adding that other point in there, right? Then that first point in there, which is there, its time is the piece we need start span time to start just before. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Its span has got to start just before this. If that's not the case, I'm going to execute this old code. But we need to basically come in. We could do this. We could say, hey, span start time is just equal to that time. And that probably wouldn't hurt. There's probably a more, for more granular separation, there's probably a better way to do it. But I'm going to try that. I think this is going to totally fix it. Okay. Now, let's make it, get it perfect. Wait for that breakpoint to hit.
You cleared it. Oh.
No, I've got the red line there. It's waiting. It's waiting on data to come in. There it is. Okay. All right. So now what I want to do, and I think this is going to totally fix it. I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to have a while loop here. While start time is less than this first point's time minus time span, do span start time plus equals time span. I think that's going to do it. There's a slight risk. Did I not quite get that right? I want to make sure we actually hit this breakpoint here. Oh, we do get in. Okay, cool. So now we have it at 37:33 seconds, and this time is at 49 seconds. So now what we're doing is we're incrementing it just by the time span right there. And we're going to keep doing that. There we go. I think it's going to work. Let's do this. Okay. Let's change something on this. On the call to go in, let's drop granularity down to 2 seconds. All right. Let's do a second call to it that adds granularity up to 10, and we're going to draw that in a different color. You want to pick a different color there? All right, so this is the smaller moving average. 2-second interval.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
nothing. I want to go in and check to see that right there? I'm taking out the clear.
Yeah.
So we can now do 2 of these on top of each other. And they won't erase, one won't erase the other. Okay?
Got it.
Alright. Do the breakpoint and run. Go ahead and run. So our 2-second average is in yellow. And our 10-second average is in green.
They're too close.
I don't see any difference.
I see some differences, but they're not
Let's do
super
it
clear.
again. Yeah, I've decided I'm not liking the way our algorithm is running. I think we should rewrite it. Because it's not. Set a breakpoint here.
Where?
Set a breakpoint line 100. And then let's change the yellow. The yellow is hard to see on
Yeah.
white.
Got it.
And
I'm gonna just make this a bit darker, so that it's easier to see as well.
all right, fine. Yeah, the difference between those two. Let's do a 1 and then let's do 1 second for this one. And I don't know, 12 seconds for that one. Let's see if we can get any difference at all between those two. Let's run it. Yeah, they seem to be right on top of each other.
No, they aren't.
Oh.
Yeah, look, green here, blue there.
Oh, I gotcha.
Blue here, green there. It's different, for sure. Not by enough.
Let me go in. I want to check. Let me check our graph and make sure we're still using the correct middle time. Yeah, we are. So what's interesting is we're using the middle time here, but it's lining up right exactly with the other
Yeah.
line for the most part.
Yeah.
And in most of the moving average pieces I've seen, there's a greater difference. Now, granted, we don't have a lot of data here yet. Let's change the thickness of the lines. Make it so the lines are easier to see. Okay, let's try that. That's easier. Now I can definitely see the divergence better.
Yeah.
Which one is which?
I believe that the blue is the lower one, is the 1 second interval, and green is the 12.
Let's double check it. It's in main window, .sample.cs. I think it was line 100.
Close, yeah. Yes.
Blue is shorter.
Is that not what I said?
I don't know. I'm just,
But yeah, blue is
because you
shorter,
weren't sure, I was like, let's double check it.
green is larger.
So we've got blue is the shorter one, and now I'm like making this 24 seconds long for the green.
It should be a huge difference.
So green is the larger moving average.
Yes. pretty much just on the line in most case scenarios.
Yeah, that 24 seconds is like a little stunning to me. Well, let's make it even bigger. Let's make it 120 seconds, 2 minutes. And we'll make this one, we'll go ahead and make this one right there. There we go. Now we're starting to see that split. Let's make it 240.
That might be a bit too much. Or not. The only problem is now it's going to take 4 minutes for it to update the green one. Right?
No, it's not going to take 4 minutes, but it's going to be 4 minutes behind.
That's true.
That's kind of what's happening. Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of, that long moving average there is kind of, you can kind of see the shape of it, right? It kind of matches the overall curve. The other one is very, very close to it. Let's take that small, let's take this one and change it to like, say, 10 seconds. Or maybe 20 seconds and this one 200. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
All right, that's one way to draw moving averages. I suggest we try a different way.
Okay.
All right, and what I want to do is I want to say, I want to go to the chart translator, and I want to do something like this. I want to say, hey, chart translator, get moving averages. I'm going to pass in 20, like that. And then I'm going to, this is going to be a an array of data points. I think it's just going to be an array of points. Like this. This is how we declare an array. Have you seen that before?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So we're going to call get moving averages. Let's write it all from scratch. Okay? So I've got get moving averages in here. This is my time span in seconds. Okay? Then what I want to do is I want to say, okay, current time. I'm going to say that is equal to start. Remember start, that field variable inside of here? Do you remember what that represents?
I do not. Probably the start time though, right?
Yep, it's the start on the left. It's the start time it's the time of the very first tick we got in. Do you know what end is?
Probably the very last that
yeah,
we've got.
the time of the very last tick that gets in. Pretty sure about that. So if we go look at end, we should see it being set. It's set right there. Yeah, it just says end is equal to date time now. Well, start is equal to date time now. Hold on. That's probably not the right place. Just keep going. There we go. End. is equal to stock data points of stock data points.count minus 1. What does that mean, Campbell?
I'm not sure.
This is an array, and we're accessing the element that's located at the length of the array minus 1.
So the last one.
Yeah, it's the last element in the array. It's time. So end is always set to the last tick's time.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. So current time, I'm going to set it equal to start. Then I'm going to say, I'm going to find out the total distance across. So I'm going to say what is in time. And so to get the distance across from start to end, what would the expression be?
It would be probably, well, end minus start.
Perfect. So end minus start is the expression. I'm going to hit the coder's key, declare a local for that. It can tell that it's a time span. Okay, so we're going to call this time across. Okay, like that. And I'm going to break it down into like maybe seconds. Okay, so we'll create a new, so I'll say time is across. I'm going to grab total seconds. I'm going to, whoops, I want to do that. I'm going to hit the coder's key again right here, declare a local, and then we're going to call this total seconds across. Okay? With me so far?
Yes.
Now I want to divide this into a certain number of points. Question is, how granular do I want it to be across? It's 900 across, total pixels. So if we had a pixel, if we had a line every 10 pixels, we would need 190 data points across.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yes. I think, yes, I do.
Okay. So then we're going to say, let's create a constant here called number of data points. We'll just say 200. We'll round it up to 200. Then we're going to say seconds per data point. This is going to be a double. I'm going to set that equal to what?
Number of data points divided by time across? No, divided by total seconds across.
Sorry, you want number of data points on top, so 200 divided by the total seconds across. So it's going to be pixels per data point. Notice here this is called seconds per data point. So seconds.
Number of data points would be, I think, on the bottom probably.
Yeah.
With total seconds across on top.
Per means divide, so it's going to go like that. Okay, so we take the total seconds, say it's like 100 seconds, divide by number of data points, that's 200. So that means each second per data point is going to be 5 seconds long. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we need to use this time span in seconds. Well, my suggestion is this, is that we basically, we're going to increment across. We're going to create something that takes current time and adds to it every time we go through the iteration.
Yeah.
Maybe we do something like this. We say, we do a for loop, and we say, as long as I is less than number of data points, we're going to increment I. Okay, makes sense? We start I at 0 and increment it to be 200. You okay with that so far? What?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'm going to create something that says like time at data point and set that equal to, well, that's going to be equal to my start plus I times something. time across in seconds at the data point. What's that? So in other words, when I is 0, time across seconds at the data point will just be equal to start. When I is 1, I want to increment time across in seconds at data point. Time across in seconds at data point. I want to increment that by a little bit, by 1 times something. What's that little bit?
Is that seconds per data point?
Yeah, seconds per data point, exactly. Right? Think about it. This is my data point times that. The data point on top and the data point on the bottom are going to cross out, meaning I'll only have seconds. Okay? So, oh, this is start plus this. So this is going to be the time span right here. That's going to be a time span. Is that right? No? Okay, hold on a second. Let's do this. Start. Let's do this. Time span dot from seconds, and we're going to pass in that. And then we're going to, this is going to be a date time. Okay?
Yes.
Now we've got the time at that data point. Then next what I want to do is I want to say get all data points around or at. Get data points at. I'm going to create a method called get data points at. I'm going to pass in the time, just time at data point. I'm going to change this time at data point. Okay. I'm going to pass in time at data point. And I'm going to pass in the time span in seconds that we're passing in at the top. See that parameter up at the top above my finger?
Yeah.
That guy right there. So I'm basically going to say, hey, whatever that range is, I want you to take the average of all the points within the span declared by this and by this.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Once we get those data points, or maybe I'll just do this. I'll just say get average. Or maybe I'll hand back an actual point. Get data point at. Maybe that's what I'll do. Okay. Now things get a little tricky. I hadn't anticipated, but I want to get the data point that's closest to this one. Well, I guess I can do this. I can say, okay, let's do this. We have this time span, so we can come in here and we can say, look, this minus that's going to be equal to what? Change that to 2, divide by 2. What's this? What should that variable be called? And similarly, what should this variable be called when I, instead of subtracting, I add?
Probably, so... Oh.
Hey Jeff, C. Groves, greetings. How you doing, Jeff? Didn't see you out there.
I don't understand.
Why am I subtracting half here and then adding half here? Why do I need 2 different times? And what does that mean when I do that? Do you have a sense of that? You can look at it a little bit more time. I'll give you a little more time to figure that out.
They're two completely different things, time span seconds and time at data point.
Kind of.
Oh!
I want to know.
Okay, I think I understand. So, the one where you subtract is that the one? Is that the last data point that was, or sorry, the last what's it called? Time span seconds? Not really though. Because it's
all right. We're just thinking about it.
oh, minus half. No, because that would make.
Take a look at it.
That would make it the beginning. No.
I want to show you what we're doing here. We've got time at data point. And then we've got something else called time span seconds. Right? We're taking time span seconds, we're dividing by 2. Right? And we're adding it. Right? Whatever that distance is. Whatever that distance is, right? The time span in seconds. Let's say that's, we'll represent that distance with this bar right here, right? Mm-hmm. With me so far? Hold on, let's ignore all those, ignore all those. So, we're adding it to that point, and we're subtracting it from that point. Well, if we add it, or if we subtract it, we're going to get it here and here. So my question is, what do I call this, and what do I call that? What are the variables representing those? And what are we going to do? Is that clear to you what we're going to do? What do we need? Why are we interested in this span of time? Right? We've got, let's look at our chart, right? We've got all of these dots here, 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 whatever they go, right? These are the dots from the graph. Go ahead. What were you going to say? What were you going to say? So we want to get a moving average, right? And I want to get a moving average at this point. Well, to do that, I need to take the average of a whole bunch of dots, right? And how many should I grab?
It's 4, right?
What?
It's 4, right? Or is it 3?
No, it's not 4. It's whatever falls within the time span. The time span is determined by the parameter that we pass in. See this parameter right here? Time span seconds?
Yeah.
So what that means is we need to grab, I'll move this one over just a little bit. We need to grab all of those guys right there. And look at them. We need to see what their values are. because they have to be inside this range. So it's how many? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in this case.
Yeah.
Or not. We don't have to look at those. We could say, you know, we could do something completely different. But whatever this time span in
Why couldn't you just take time span seconds?
Is your question done? I feel like there might be more.
No, that's it.
Why can't we take times 10 seconds?
No, why can't we just take time span seconds?
Oh, and subtract that instead?
No, just take, say, hey, how many dots are in time span seconds?
Well, that's kind of exactly what we're doing.
Then why are we making it overly complicated?
That's an interesting perspective. So time span in seconds is this. It's represented by this bar.
Yeah.
See that?
Yeah.
See, I've got time span in seconds divided by 2, time span in seconds divided by 2. If we didn't subtract the 2, right? And we didn't do this, here, let's just duplicate this slide. And on the next slide, we'll say, okay, we're not going to do that. And I've got this. What does that mean? Am I just going to add it to it to find the range? In which case, we could do that. Right? But now my range is going to give me back these.
Which aren't the ones you want.
Would you say?
Which aren't the ones you want.
Well, you could still do it this way. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to say, okay, here's my data point, the time I'm interested in. Let's grab the ones before and after. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. That's what I'm trying to do. So I think as usual, I started with the hardest question first. Without providing, you know, kind of a visual picture of where I'm headed. If things are ever confusing, you can always say, Dad, can I get a visual on that?
Yeah.
To which one I'll do it. So are things seem a little simpler now?
Yeah.
Okay. So switching back over. So I'm back to the same question over here. If I have a data point and I subtract some time from it, what should I call this date time?
Beginning of.
Okay.
Or start.
Maybe start range?
Yeah.
Start range.
And then end range for the other.
Sweet. I like it. This one's going to be end range. Okay? All right. So we've got start range and end range. So now I'm going to iterate through all of these and I'm going to say, hey, if stock data point dot time is after what?
I'm not sure what you want to do.
Well, that's a great thing to say. I need to go through all the data points and I need to now find, here, let's switch back to my machine. I need to find this guy. So I need to know, is this guy inside of this range? That's what I need to know. See it?
Yeah.
So we go through all of these. I'm going to say, hey, are you inside this range?
No.
No. Are you inside the range? 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 Yes. Well, let's add you to my list of things I need to track.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Wait. I just copied it.
Good. So if the time is greater than the start range, we're in potentially good shape.
But also less than the end range.
Okay, so go ahead and do that. You know how to say, yeah, there you go, good job.
And, stop it. Oh, dang. Well.
Nero GT is following. Thanks for that follow, Nero GT.
And then we say say this is in the
Yeah,
range.
we're good to go. Right? Now we can work with this. We can work with this data. Like that. Another thing, what happens if this is true? If that is true, what should we do then?
We don't want to do anything with it, right?
Yeah. It's kind of like asking the question, what happens if this data point is bigger than that? See on my screen?
Yeah.
What do we do?
Nothing. There's nothing we want to do with that.
Right, now we've collected all of these. We should probably total those up and figure out the average, right?
Yeah.
Well, should we keep going in the iteration? Should we go and then check to see, is this one greater? Should we check to see if that one's greater?
Oh, no.
We're done.
Okay. Then end the for each loop.
Yeah, I can get out, right? So we go back over here, you know, we can make a comment for now. We can get out. Like that. Okay, maybe we'll have a break. So break, do you know what break does? Have we talked about break?
Yeah, it's similar to return, except for it just ignores everything. It just, boom, end.
It's for loops. So it gets out of the for loop and executes the next line of code, whatever we put down here. So break will take me to here.
Mm-hmm.
Take me to whatever line of code is here. Basically here, I'll just write down here. It won't take me to here because I've got a comment there, but that's kind of what's going on.
But it would if there was real code.
If there's code there, it would take me there. Okay, so, okay. Since we know that we've already gotten out here, we do not need this extra check here. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I need to have a new list of stock data points. And so to do that, I've got this on the clipboard to create a new list of what's on the clipboard. Do you remember what to do? Have I told you this yet? In Progress to the templates, new list of what's on the clipboard.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, and then it's backslash.
No, it's a dot. It's a dot is the word O.
What is backslash? What is backslash then?
No, hold on. It's not the letter O. I was correcting something else. It's NL dot, not an O.
Dot, okay.
Try that. NL
so
dot.
it's NL dot and then backslash.
All right. Good. And we're going to call this points in range. Okay, cool. Copy that to clipboard if you haven't done it already. Just that copy key on there while you're editing it is usually a good move. All right, so now we can work with this data. Well, if that's the case, we're just going to say, hey, add that stock data point.
Oh, okay.
I think we're okay. Okay, we can work with this data. I think we might want to do this as well. I think we want to do, as we go through the loop, I think we should store last data point. Set that equal to stock data point. And I'll just put this up here. I'll set it to null right now. And the reason why I want to do this is I want to say, well done the dev, says hello. Hello, well done the dev. I'm like medium rare the dev. That's who I am. Campbell, what do you? What, if you have a handle that ends in the dev, what's your handle going to be?
Oh, I'm just fully uncooked dev.
Fully uncooked dev. Okay, great. All right, fine. Welcome, medium rare and fully uncooked. Welcome you. Well done, the dev. How are you doing? Let's see here. Is this your kid? I don't know. This guy just snuck into my studio. It's like a stowaway. I don't know what this kid. I keep asking my wife, when's this kid leaving? That's my kid. That's Campbell right there.
Yes.
We are working on a graphing
Of
stock.
stocks.
And neither Campbell nor I are what I would call experts
No.
in like calculating these things.
No.
In fact, there's probably 100 libraries out there that can calculate the small moving average. But we are attempting to do it by hand.
Yes.
We're not in Unity right now. Sometimes we go in Unity. We have not been in Unity in a while. We're in C# and WPF today, and we are we're getting real-time stock data and graphing it. That's what we're doing.
Yes. And soon we're going to try. Well, I say soon, probably in a couple weeks. We're going to try to get the program to buy and sell at the right
Yeah, we're trying to
times.
create a stock trading bot so we can make some money. That's what we're trying to do. Campbell wants to make some money for his college because Dad says you're not going to get any money from me. What are you doing here? How come you're still in this house? Oh my gosh, when did they move out, honey? Anyway, all right, so let's see. We are in the process of kind of going through, here's our visualization. These are our data points, and we're going through, we want to find, we're passing in a time. We just want to collect and see all the data points we have in that time range. So we're figuring out the start and the end of the span. We're checking to see, hey, are you a data point in that span? And if you are, we're going to add you to the list. That's all we're doing right now so far, adding to the points and range to the list.
Yeah.
Okay, like that. I had collected this one right here because I'm thinking about adding a point right at that beginning based on the last value.
Yeah.
Maybe based on, oh my gosh. Okay, this is a little crazy, but take a look at this. So let's say that this is the point before. And this is how the graph really looks, like this. Maybe the point is, well, let's see. Maybe the point's down here, like that. So we have this gap between the two. Okay? Make sense?
Yeah.
So if I were to draw a line between these two, like that, and let's say this one is in a little bit as well. Okay? So I'm calculating the average. My question to you is should I create a fake artificial point here?
At the beginning of the range?
Kind of. Here, hold on a second. Let me do this. Let me get some dashes on this thing. Right, so the question is, should I create an artificial point there? By taking...
I think so.
Okay. It's a little tricky to do.
Yes.
Because we have to
It might not be worth the time and effort, but I think it will better.
What'd you say?
Average. I think it will make the average better overall.
I like your beard. I think he was talking to me this time. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting one. Similarly, we might have a similar kind of question out here, right? I'm going to leave these as questions to think about for right now. But if that's there, then this one would be about right there, right?
Yes. But
should we create
how
those
do
data points?
Oh, I guess, yeah, that's true.
Because here's the kind of the value in it, I think. The value in having the data points is what happens if we don't have data points there, we just have them here, right? What happens is there's a lot of weight here given to these, but nothing down in the space. Now, because we're taking a lot of averages over time, it's not too big of a deal, right?
But if that's happening, then shouldn't we create our fake dots along that line, like a bunch of them from
Here to here?
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't really figured that out yet. So I think we're going to leave it alone, but that was kind of an interesting question, right? Should we do that or not? I'm going to say probably not. That's what I'm
Maybe
saying.
not.
Just because I think it's extra work, and I think we're going to get decent results if we don't do the extra work. Okay? All right, fair?
Yeah.
Now, we're going to do this. We're going to use kind of this thing here. We're going to move this all along and do this a bit at a time. So what's different about this approach, Campbell, is before we would look at this group, and then we would look at the next group, and then the next group. But now I'm going to look at this group, then I'm going to move over just a bit. I'm going to get rid of this guy and add this guy, and look at that group.
And then it's much smarter.
It should be a smoother curve. That's the idea. So yeah, let's take a look at that. We'll go back to Campbell's machine. Switch back over there. All right, so maybe I'm not going to. So the whole reason I held on to the last point is so that I could figure out that dotted line. But I'm not going to, that dotted point, that imaginary point, I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
Okay? That also means that within a span, we could return back no points at all. Because the span has no data in it.
Yeah, but we have the check that says if there are 0 points in the span, then don't check anything.
Well, we're kind of rewriting stuff here. So I'm going to change this a little bit. I'm going to make this now be, instead of get data point out, I'm going to make this get, get data points in range. Okay? So I'm going to call this one just time. Whoops. Yeah. So that's just time, get data point in range. And now what it's going to do is it's going to return this guy, like right here. Okay? So there's my return. And just in case, I'm going to return it at the end as well. In case we points in range. Okay. Okay. And I'm just now thinking, do I really want to return a new list anyway, or maybe if there's nothing in it, I return null? Get data points in range. Well, we'll go do it like that. So get to a data points in range, I think it's going to work. Right? If the time is greater than it, we can work with this data and we add it. And if the time is greater than the end range, then we simply just return those points. Make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay, so this is going to return something different. It's now going to return data points in range. And then now what I want to do is I want to say get average price in range, like that. And we're going to pass this range to it, like that. And that's going to return back a decimal. Whoa, what was that? Hold on, looks like okay, like that. Decimal, average, price is equal to that. Okay, now we're going to declare this method. Now we've already written code that kind of does this well up above. We didn't refactor it yet. It's here. It's there. See that from there to there?
Yes.
There it is. Get average price. Okay, that's the one we want to use, not the other one we just declared. Okay? So we call it get average price. Now we already know, so that's the average price. the time at the data point is here. Now I have get something X, right? Get stock position X requires a time. We use time at data point. See it?
Uh-huh.
That's going to give me in my X. Okay? But you were the one who said you like well-labeled X and Y's. Okay? Then
Yes.
I'm going to do, I need to get stock position Y. And that's going to be get stock position Y. It's not going to take a time. What does it take?
It takes a price.
And what price am I putting in there?
Just the last trade rate. Or no. Stock data point dot. I'm not sure actually.
It needs to take a decimal. Look out, Campbell.
Hello.
Hey, Pudding, welcome. It needs to take a decimal. You see any decimals nearby?
Yes, I do.
What do you see?
Average price.
There you go. Pudding says, hello, Murky and Campbell. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
How are you doing, Pudding? So average price. It's going to give me my X and my Y. And then finally, get moving averages. Oh, I need a bunch of points. One thing though, hold on. Get average price. If there's no points in the span, total weight will be 0. Kind of want to die. Woke up at 7:30, says Pudding. Then went to sleep again, but it's never the same. Boy, tell me about that. I know that. Yeah. That's not good. Never. All right. Let's look at this code. What do we got, Camel? What happens if there are no points in the span? Did you follow where I said it? What?
If there are no points in the span,
Yeah.
then we just need to move on.
Okay. What is total price and total weight if there are no points in the span?
They're both just 0, right?
Okay. They're both 0. What
Well-
happens when I come to this line of code right here?
Well, not necessarily. They're not both 0 because if they were both, yeah, they're both whatever the last average price was and whatever the last, so total price is the same as whatever the last total price was.
No, it's not. It's going to be
Total
0.
weight.
Look,
Really?
right, see right there? When we
Yeah,
call this
it's
method,
going to be, but should it be?
if we call this 100,000 times, when we call it the millionth time, and we execute this line of code, total price will be 0. It's only changed in the method in this space. But if points and span is empty, Zenive says you need some edge handling for that function. Just import a module that changes 0 over 0 to 0. It's worth breaking tons of math on the back end, trust me. Okay, Zanives, thanks for that great suggestion. It's going to be 0.
Yeah.
And anything divided by 0 is going to be, it's not going to work. It's going to be exception.
Ever.
So what we can do is this, is we can say, well, get average price will return 0, or maybe we'll say this. We'll say, hey, if total weight is equal to 0, that means there's no data points here. We're going to return maybe decimal min value. Thoughts?
So the closest to 0 possible.
Min value is actually a negative number.
Oh,
It's way off. We could also say max value.
yeah. Max value is also huge.
We could also do 0.
Or is huge.
But here's the deal. Get average price.
If it's 0, then it's not going to work.
Whatever we return that indicates an error condition, we need to we need to check for it on the other side and not add any points. Does that make sense? Don't add any data points if we've got nothing in that span.
Yes.
What do you want to do? 0, max value, min value? Do you have a choice?
Probably min value, just because if it's 0, it will get a bit wonky and...
All right, so we'll do min value. So we're going to look for that on the other side. So we're going to say, hey, look, if average price is equal to that, then we're just going to continue in our loop. Just going through our data points, right? For each data point, we're calling get data points in range, passing a time span, that sort of thing. Now, though, we've got a good set of data. We can create a new point. What do I pass in for points constructors? It takes an X and a Y.
Oh, stock position X and stock position Y.
Okay, that's going to be my new point, and then I want to add it to my array. I know my number of data points is a constant, so that means I can declare my new point array like this. Call it results, new point array, and I can pass in this constant, and it'll allocate the memory needed for that array, so allocate the space for the 200. Then, we have a slight problem here.
Yeah.
The slight problem is if I have nothing in the span, I think I don't want to do this as a point array. I want to do it instead as a new list of points. Like that. Just call it points. It's so much easier to work with this than it is to work with arrays, I find. So we'll get rid of that. Then we're going to come down here and we're going to say points dot add. And what are we going to pass in here?
Just point.
Like that. Okay? So points dot add point. Then we're going to return it at the end of this method. We say return that point, and I need to change this to list of points. Okay, so there's get moving averages. So this is going to turn into a list of points as well. That's my small moving average. Okay, now that I've got that, I'm going to go say chart points. I'm going to pass in the canvas I want to chart them on. See this analysis. I'm going to pass in my small moving average, and I'm going to pass in my color brush like this. Small was blue.
Yes, small was blue. No, yeah. Yes, small was blue.
I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to pass in one more number, and the number is going to be the line thickness. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to make it so that we can create a thicker line for the longer moving average, so we can easily spot the difference. Does that make sense? I'm going to clear both of these. I'm going to comment those out. Get rid of all this code before here. And we're going to now create the method chart points. It's got a list of points. These are an X, Y space. They should be good. So we're going to do a for each on that. We need a last X and a last Y. Looks like, wait, hold on. The code looks kind of similar here. Teddy Jackson says, what color would you say the lower half of his beard is?
Currently, purple.
Looks purple?
Or sorry, not purple, blue.
It's kind of a sapphire blue when it started, but it fades out and gets a little gray in it.
Yeah. Though normally it's more green. It's like a tealish color.
I'm going to kind of take this. This is a little bit similar to what we want. And just so I get some base code to work with here. just paste it in and we'll just kind of move things in the right spots. So we need this and this maybe. That up there. We don't need to clear the canvas. We don't need to lock any data. We don't need this or this. We do need like an add dot. No, an add line is what we want. We've already drawn at least one point. Well, that's kind of what we're looking for. We've already seen at least one. Put this here. We don't really need that. Here, we really need to see if, hey, if last x is not equal to double dot min value. Right there. So now it says, Teddy Jackson, thanks for reminding me that I have a monthly sub sitting around. Oh, look at that. So now subscribe to Prime Gaming. Thanks, Sonaz. Official air sign, subscribe to Prime Gaming. All right, got some subscriptions out there. Thanks, kids, for the subscriptions. You're paying for Campbell's college. Not me. It's you guys. You're paying for that guy. What do you get from Dad?
Nothing.
Nothing, that's right. And you like it. So nice says, hell yeah. Your other son says, fog. Play the game. Okay, so pudding's out there. So, all right, so we need an X and Y here. We can get those from point. I don't think you've worked with point before. It kind of looks like that. Okay, and then we're just going to do kind of this down here, like that. And I should have moved that. Should have put that before, but that's okay. We'll do choose the X. All right. So now that I think is a shot of graphing the points. We don't need this. Okay. So we're just going through, we're going to draw a line from every point to the next one. Okay, calling add line. What's going on with add line? Add line is looking for, oh, we don't really want that. Hold on, we got create line here though. Create line we kind of like. Let's do this. Line thickness, let's make this a double. Line thickness, and we'll initialize its value to what we're already using inside. This is a great technique we're using right here. See what we're doing, Campbell, in here?
Yeah.
See that? So instead of having a hard-coded 1, we're not changing, we're not breaking any code. Anybody that calls this with 4 parameters is still going to get a line that's exactly 1 line long. One pixel wide, I mean. Sorry about that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go back here. This is where we're in chart points. And we're going to say add block delimiters. We're going to call create line, pass in last XY, and now we can pass in the line thickness too, which is going to be this last one right here. It's going to be my line thickness. I still have that on the clipboard somewhere. There it is right there. Line thickness. So we're going to say create line, pass in line thickness. That's going to do this. And then we're going to say line dot stroke, I think, is equal to our solid color brush, which I'm going to rename to just brush. Okay? Because you could actually pass in a gradient brush to a line if you wanted to. We're passing in a solid one, but you can pass in any kind of brush. That's one of the cool things about WPF, Campbell, is I can mix and match brushes.
Yeah.
And do them all over the place. It's very cool. All right, so we've done that. We've created the line. I don't think we've added it yet. We need to add it to the canvas. So we're going to say canvas. Remember how to add something to it? Look at the first suggestion. It's children.
Ah, probably .children.add.
There you go. And we're going to add the line. Okay? I think that's got a shot of working. So let's chart points. The small moving average. While we're at it, let's get a larger moving average. Might as well. Larger moving average. We're going to do this across a span of 200 seconds, so it'll take a while to get the second one going. And we're going to pass that in here, right here. And we're going to use, you wanted the green, is that what you wanted? You want to pick the large color?
Yeah. Kind of in this space.
change its line thickness to be 8, so it's double. So we know that the thicker line is the larger moving average.
Yeah.
And let's run it. Let's see if it compiles and runs. Okay, well, it runs. It compiles. Oh, we got an error. Last X and Y
are not number.
Let's go look at our call stack. Control-Alt-C, hit that. Control-Alt-C, that brings up your call stack. It came from chart points, see it?
Yeah.
Double click on that line that says chart points. Not there, just below it. See right there, chart points. So wait, what's going on here? Point X is not a number. Oh my gosh, look, the X is not a number for all of them.
Why?
Well, I think I know why. I think we're assigning it something to Y and not X when we create our new point.
Well, yeah, that would make sense.
That might be
when? Where?
Well, it's going to call that came just before here. So chart points is here. Get moving average is what we're looking for. So in here, we've got stock position X. Time at data point. Start plus time span from seconds. I times seconds per data point. How is it returning not a number? Code looks right. Well, what we can do is we can set a breakpoint like here or here and set a condition in here. Well, they're all coming across bad. So I guess we could just, let's see, where are we right now? I'll show you a trick for working your way through this. If we hit continue, it'll get us back to the error, right? So what we do is we'll come out here, see the end, and I'm just gonna hit Control-Shift F10. Why don't you hit that? Control-Shift F10. That sets program execution now here. So we basically said, you know what, we're gonna get out of this code. We're not drawing the graph anymore. I've set my breakpoint here to where I think the problem's gonna be. And now I'm just gonna hit continue. So I'm basically just saying, okay, let's get out of here. Now what's the average price? Average price is decent. Stock position Y. Well, wait, what's X though? X is 0. That's also good. Let's run again. Let's see what the next one is. That's good. That's good. That's good. Whoops. All of those are good. We can set a conditional breakpoint. And we can say stock position X. That's a type double. I think there's a, there you go, is not a number call on that, and we can pass in stock position X. Do you understand what is happening here?
Yes.
Okay, so now let's run it and see if we stop. That's weird. So we had a problem one time and we don't have it now. Okay, cool. So green is our small moving average.
Yeah. Blue is our larger one. Nope, other way around. Blue is our small moving average. Green is our large one.
You're right.
So what is it when the large moving average passes under the big moving average? That means it's about to go down or up?
I think when the long moving average crosses and crosses in a Yeah, I don't want to answer that question because I think I'm going to be wrong on it. That's what I think I'm going to do on it. Okay, so the thin line is the actual data that we're getting from the stock ticker. The blue line is the moving average, the small moving average. Kind of thicker blue line. And the really thick green line is the longer moving average. So my understanding is when the green line crosses the blue line and the green line is kind of going up, then that's your buy signal.
And if it's the other way around, if it crosses and the green line is going down, then...
Yeah, but let's watch it and see what happens here.
Okay. Okay, so that should mean it's going down.
Let's see if we can make some sense out of this thing. What's interesting is the blue line is actually showing up to the right of the actual data line. And in my experience, it should show up to the left, as I recall.
Oh no, that's not good. Could have got it wrong.
Let's set a breakpoint. Interesting, this breakpoint's not hidden well. I wonder why that is. I want to set a breakpoint, and I want to just change these numbers here. I want to make this one be like 100, so we've got a 5-to-1 ratio between these two. And see how that changes the graph. Well, I'm kind of out of time.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at so many lines, I'm kind of like, what? I think what we need to do, I think our next move is to create some options in the UI. We can do this tomorrow.
I think it's offset by a certain amount. The moving average by a certain amount on the x-axis. Because this piece right here, this piece on the blue line, feels like it should be right here. And it isn't. I could totally be wrong. But that is what it feels like.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to add some UI tomorrow. Some buttons that turn the graphs on and off so we can see things. And also button a slider so we can move the slider and change the moving average and see how changing it changes the curve.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. All right.
All right. So with that, let's get a raid going. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Thanks for contributing to Campbell's Future. Campbell says thank you.
I do.
I'll send you over to C# Fritz.
Okay. This is a very peculiar looking graph.